You know, I think this is the first time I've used an exclamation point in a video title that wasn't for K-On!, which should speak volumes towards how passionate I am about today's topic. I love almost everything about Clannad, including its ending, which is a divisive one to say the least. I mean, even the friends I've shown Clannad to who were over the moon about it felt disappointed by its ending. Well, I can't wait any longer to throw my hat back in the ring. You guys think Clannad had a Deus Ex Machina ending? Well, I'll do my best to explain why I disagree, and just maybe we'll... I'll hold that thought for a second. It looks like this is a letter from the higher-ups. This is a little unorthodox, but I guess I can read this while recording, because, you know, we have a pretty good working relationship. Dear dumb f***. Yikes, okay, that was a little rude. We regret to inform you that this is an ongoing series and you are not at liberty to discuss Clannad's ending quite yet. Regardless, we expect a sound argument as to why Clannad has a fantastic conclusion. Enclosed in this envelope are two routes that quite frankly have very little to do with each other, but figure it out? Work that microphone, promote that Patreon, get those views. I am in your walls. Love, Corporate. This is what I get for hiring a bore as my manager. Okay, let's see which routes Mr. Pigshit left for me. Oh, this actually works out nicely. So some of you might remember my after story video where I used Yukine and Masai's arcs to explain these things. If you've been following along with this series so far, you know what they are, but probably not where they come from or what they're capable of. Withholding information like this from the audience might be troublesome. Say these things play a major role in the plot somewhere down the line, then whatever they do will come across as contrived. Well, thankfully, both Key and Kyoto Animation recognize this, so they highlighted the importance and not so subtly foreshadowed the nature of the light orbs in their own ways. And then a good handful of people still called contrivance upon finishing the story. Based on what I've read, this issue stems from a lack of understanding of what these orbs are and how they tie into the themes and world of Clannad. So welcome to Light Orbs 101 with a side of side routes. I'll be going through today's routes as normal while drawing as much attention as possible to their relationship with the light orbs. First on the list is Yukine, and good thing too, because for all you anime onlys out there, the visual novel version of her story will come as a surprise to you. From my understanding, the original plan for the visual novel was to make Yukine a part of the main cast, but she was relegated to a side route because the team thought her story wasn't strong enough to justify the upgrade. That is correct, however, this is by no means a bad route. In fact, much like the reference room it takes place in, I see it as a safe haven full of fun and relaxation. As Tomoya stumbles into the room on the 18th in search of his old napping spot, he meets a strange girl who appears to be at his beck and call. She offers him coffee, which he gladly accepts. Then she waits attentively as he drinks it, giving him an idea for some deadpan sarcasm. He asks for omelet rice, which she regrettably explains she can't make for him. Why is she still waiting for me like that? Don't tell me. Then I'll have a haircut. Please leave the sideburns as they are. This is more or less the vibe of the entire route. Yukine defeats Tomoya's facetious remarks by always taking them literally, but seemingly not out of any form of stupidity. It's almost as though she accepts him for who he is, strange behavior and all, the second he walks through that door. As Tomoya puts it, I feel like there's something about her that lets you truly be yourself. And Yukine takes be yourself to heart herself. God, I cannot write to save my life. She does magic spells because she's interested in them. One of the most charming parts of visiting the reference room each day is doing your daily spell. Take this one for example. After doing a chant, Tomoya must do a lap around the school, and whoever talks to him first has a crush on him. As he begins to move, people pass him without even meeting his eyes. He sees more of the same as he drags his feet past his own classroom. There are people all over the place, but nobody has any interest in speaking with him, it seems. He thinks to himself that maybe he really is as hopeless as Sunohara. Admittedly, it comes as a small shock to him. I guess it is what it is, right? Maybe some people are just destined to... What? Oh god, what the hell, guys? I just got done with this. You know what? I refuse to let you cloud my pleasant feelings with guilt. Now you better hope this flashbang wipes my memory and we'll start over from scratch. Okay, what was this video about again? Oh, that's right, Sunahara. When he enters the picture, the enjoyment of this route multiplies tenfold. Giving Tomoya and Sunahara a place where they have free reign to be idiots together for an extended period of time was a stroke of genius. I said some not so nice things about the way Tomoya treats his supposed best friend not too long ago, but in this route, the comedy outshines any sense of pity I feel for the guy. You've got classics like Tomoya emotionlessly pushing a button to scald Sunahara's hand with hot water, the scene where he freaks out and starts throwing desks at Tomoya after he calls him a clown, which is a bit that's only become funnier with time. There's Sunahara's best line in the entire visual novel, which reads as so: "Listen, brat, if you're a man, stop chasing after your sister's ass." And no, I will not be giving any context for this quote. Even the standard Sunahara getting dragged away to get murdered off screen has a good punchline for once. After Tomoya gets him into trouble with one of Yukine's gang friends, it cuts to him standing in an empty classroom. Sunahara is gone. The empty chair only reminds me more and more of him. Gone are the days we fooled around, laughing with each other. I wonder why I can only remember your crying face now. Why can't I remember any of your happy expressions? Is it because I've only done horrible things to you? But even though I was always like that, I have always... Crap, I'm hungry. Guess I'll go have some gyudon on the way home. I have so many questions right now. But let's address one of yours first. Did I just mention something about Yukine's gang friends? Yep. Every so often, a handful of gang members make their way to the reference room to see or be treated by Yukine. The mystery of why the hell they're so attached to her in the first place is intriguing enough to keep the player playing. But beyond that, they add more humor and charm to a route that's already overflowing with it. A lot of them adopt the say something stupid with a straight face comedic style, which instantly puts them on my good side. I'm a fan of these big, intimidating, shady types of characters who turn out to be really goofy and heartwarming. Seeing the way they react to Yukine slowly getting more intimate with Tomoya is a joy to see. It's that spleen-rupturing combination of I'm okay with this and I'm totally not okay with this. Take this scene where Sunahara and one of the guys watch from the window as Yukine embraces Tomoya in order to give herself strength for a big event today. Shortly afterwards, they enter the room and tell them it's time to leave. As they make their way there, Sunahara tells Tomoya he's walking on a tightrope right now, saying the gang member crushed a rock with his bare hands while watching. I suppose they don't tear him limb from limb because he reminds them of Yukine's brother, a friend of the gang who tragically passed away 1 year ago. After hearing this, Tomoya gets some wonderful characterization as his self-conscious, always nitpicking mind goes to work. He goes off of the assumption that Yukine only treats him differently from everyone else because of these similarities, failing to realize that it was his choice and by extension the player's choice that made him stand out from the rest of the crowd. As for that big event, it's the anniversary of her brother's death, so Yukine and the others are going to visit his grave to pay their respects. This is the climax of the route. Not some big Naruto-ass fight scene with a heaping helping of melodrama. No, this is a very quiet and reserved scene. As they all huddle around the grave, Yukine gives this big speech about how she came to open herself up to her brother's friends after seeing the kindness in their eyes at the funeral. She feels truly happy knowing that she has so many people in her corner now, all because she worked up the courage to go and talk to these guys. Over time, they warmed up to her, and as a result, she became the inviting and comforting little sibling to anyone who needed her support. She'll cook for you, treat your wounds, and listen to what you have to say when nobody else will. Hell, she'll even defend you in front of people who might as well be brick walls, as seen in one of the best scenes in this route. Also, small thing about the art in this CG, I kind of expected the gang members to look a little more, you know, intimidating, because I'm pretty sure the feeling I'm supposed to feel while looking at these guys is not I can take on 3 of you at once. Anyways, among all these guys is Tomoya, who may seem completely out of place, but the fact is there's nobody else this shoulder to cry on would rather have by her side, because he's the one person who gave back the comfort that she provided to so many. Admittedly, this route doesn't hit the emotional heights of the other routes because, quite frankly, the sad part is already over. Her speech reads more like a celebration of how far she's come since her brother passed. And as she expresses this joy, Tomoya notices a small ball of light slowly drifting down from the sky. He reaches out his hand and absorbs it, feeling warmth inside of his body. Sometime later, Sunohara tells Tomoya he noticed him stretching out his arm but couldn't see what he was reaching for. Two things have just been confirmed for us. First is that these light orbs are in fact real objects in this world, confirming that all of these post-credit screens actually happened. That may sound obvious, but if it weren't for this scene, it'd be pretty ambiguous. Second, only Tomoya can see them. Why's that? Good question. The conversation we have with Yukine after the credits may help us learn the answer. According to books in the reference room of local history, aka this town, nobody knew what the light orbs were physically, they just know that they showed up whenever something good happens. Yukine then says that nowadays most people don't seem to believe they exist at all, and yeah, tell me about it. This next part where she suggests that Tomoya is special may make you roll your eyes, but don't tune out just yet. She corrects herself by saying that everyone else must have changed. Her interpretation is that if people were still deeply connected to this town like before, they'd be able to see them. This puzzles Tomoya as he straight up hates this place. So why would they show up for him and nobody else? Well, think back to the one thing that separated Tomoya from every other character in this route. If the light orbs show up when people are happy, and the town's interests align with these orbs, don't you think the person with the strongest connection to the town will be someone who constantly brings happiness to its residents? Wouldn't the guy who steps up to the occasion time and time again to put other people's needs before his own be the perfect candidate to see the light orbs? It doesn't matter what he says or feels. His actions, your actions as a player, are what make you special to this town. You don't see the light orbs because you're the main character. You see them because you earn them. Like it or not, their history is established in this universe, and your ability to see them is consistent with said history, which completes one half of this argument. We now have an understanding of why light orbs appear, but the crucial piece of information we still don't know is what they're capable of. This is where Masai's route comes in. If you don't remember, she's the dorm mother at the boys' athletics dorm that Sunohara lives in. Tomoya gets to know her by constantly stopping to teach her new ways to beat up the rugby club whenever they misbehave. But more important than these guys getting their just desserts, one day Masai invites Tomoya to her room for tea as thanks for rescuing her cat from Sunohara. And as they interact more and more with each other, my exceptionally high opinion of Tomoya as a character begins to decline ever so slightly. This guy falls in love like 15 times in this game, but this is the only time where I found it to be annoying. He takes a very obsessive and lustful approach that just doesn't jive with me at all. The first thing he does when he's invited into her room is stare at her chest. When he hides in her futon as she consults a rugby club member about his constipation, he gets a good whiff and is all, oh yeah, that's good stuff. He also gets really into hearing about a previous boyfriend of hers and uses some underhanded tactics to get her to spill the beans about him. For starters, we have Nagisa. You help her out on the first day of school and talk to her a couple of times after that before getting locked into Masai's route. However, Tomoya decides that she can get her to go take love advice from Masai to see if she'll say something that makes her talk about her ex. Admittedly, this is a really cute scene. Masai tells Nagisa not to get romantically involved with Tomoya, listing off all his stupid behavior in this route as reasons for why. And then she's just like, but I think he's a good person. It's an interesting tidbit, confirming that Nagisa liked Tomoya from day one, but it's also just so sweet the way she defends him like that. After she leaves, Masai tells him to just go out with Nagisa because she's literally perfect, and his response is to ignore Nagisa for the rest of the route, and instead put up a bunch of flyers around the school advertising Masai's relationship counseling in order to get more opportunities to hear about this other guy of hers. Okay, Tomoya, I still love you, man, but I think you're gonna need to sit the rest of this one out. You're too busy MILF hunting to be a good character right now. MILF, as we all know, standing for Mom. I know you're watching this, please don't look that up. Anyways, after a convoluted set of choices leading to Tomoya ultimately expressing his love for Masai, she starts to cry, causing her cat to show Tomoya a vision from the past. A mysterious voice tells us that we have a charm with us. Inside of it is a light orb. Its ability is that it can grant one wish. Our job is to take this light to Masai and grant her wish. This orb has been entrusted to Katsuki Shima, a boy who feels indebted to Masai because she kept him company while he was sick in the hospital. As for plot details, I don't have much to say other than it's a decent enough unrequited love triangle story that's nowhere near as special as most of the other routes. Shima, however, is a great character, and I wish we saw more of him outside of this story. But back to the light orb. I just said it can grant wishes, so case closed, right?
Well, not quite.
Because Shima here is actually that kid from the hospital's pet cat. See, he passed away, but the cat was turned into a human who looks just like him, who was then sent to grant Masai's wish. Whether or not this was through the power of the light orb was inferred, but based on what we've been told, I believe the orbs have the ability to use magic to change a situation to fit somebody's wish. Say that Shima wished for Masai's wish to be granted. There's no way he would know what her wish is, so the orb sent the cat in a suitable form to go find out. Her wish ended up being, "I want you to stay by my side forever," which the light grants by turning Shima back into a cat, who then became her pet, which she still has to this day. It's a weird monkey's paw type situation where she technically got what she wanted, but not really. This leads me to believe that light orbs are not the best at granting wishes individually. However, their abilities stack when they're together. There are two reasons why I think this. The first is it's impossible to get Clannad's true ending, the one that so many people have a problem with, without first obtaining all 13 light orbs in the game, insinuating that whatever happens would not be possible without all of their power combined. The second has to do with Akio, who, as we'll learn in a future route, had an experience with the light orbs himself. We know that he's done enough to earn some of his own thanks to another route I haven't covered yet, and that once again his wish was granted, but not in the exact way he wanted it to be. I realize I'm dancing around the subject a lot for the sake of spoilers, but I think you get what I'm trying to say with this video. The light orbs are a tangible force in this world baked into the history of this town. They show up whenever somebody experiences true happiness, and only those who have a deep connection with this town can see them. They tie into the major theme of change because their perception among the public is greatly affected by change across generations. I also see it fitting into the game's theme of family. Clannad builds up the family you choose for yourself as a support system that gives you back even more than you put in. The same way a light orb rewards making somebody experience pure joy with a wish. Speaking of which, the light orbs grant wishes. Plus, the more of them you have, the better the outcome. And now we know more about the light orbs than most people know about high school math. Keep in mind that out of every piece of information I just listed, like 95% of it came exclusively from these two routes, both of which are required to see the true ending. I feel like I can rest my case, Your Honor. Whether or not these little balls of light give you the ending you want is for you to decide. All I'm saying is the one thing you can't do is say they're contrived. And by the way, you may notice that we didn't collect a light orb for finishing Masai's route. All I'll say is hang in there. You know, we didn't actually bring her true happiness here, but if I know my boy, I'm sure he'll get around to it eventually. Special thanks to Silent Secondary, Mr. Chocolate Salmon, and the rest of my wonderful patrons.